Hi everyone, happy Monday. I'm finally back on the schedule. I will be posting a vlog this week. I'm gonna say it in this video because if I don't, I'm not gonna hold myself accountable. So it's coming. Expect that for Friday, like I always have my vlogs coming out. I haven't posted in a month, I think, a vlog at least. And so I'm really excited. Also, excuse the voice a little bit. It sounds a little bit raspy, which is kind of cool, but it's because I'm sick. I overdid myself the past 2 weeks, and I didn't realize how much I overdid it until my body kind of just shut down on Sunday, or actually Saturday, it really shut down. And then Sunday, I recovered ish, and I am still recovering today. But, anyways, this episode is about some simple, easy ways for you to set yourself up for success, to make your life a lot easier to live and just better in general. But it's very little things that you wouldn't realize have such a huge effect on your life. I really champion work smarter, not harder. Even though I don't follow that exactly, I still really stand by it. And these are some examples of ways that where you don't have to put that much effort or money into it, and then it just creates such a huge effect. Okay, but before we get into that high-low buffalo, which is just to ease into the episode. So starting with my high, the good thing that happened this week, I finally got to just leave my old apartment. And I know that sounds kind of messed up that I'm just like bye with my old apartment, but guys, the whole process of like living between two places and just kind of being in between and in the middle is not really fun. Especially having to go back to the old apartment, move more things, clean more things in the old apartment while still trying to start brand new in the new apartment, which I'm filming in right now. That's why the background is very different. But yeah, it was just super annoying, and having to travel back and forth took so much time, and cleaning was really annoying, guys. I know I really want the security deposit back, but Jesus, like having to go back and clean 3 times, like deep clean. I used a whole brand new roll of paper towels just to clean out like the apartment, and then that was too much. So I'm super happy that I got to give those keys back to the landlord and just say I'm done with that place. And now I only have one place that I'm living in, which is this new apartment, which you guys can see very, very soon in future vlogs. I will be trying to set a routine, trying to settle down in this new place. It'll take me probably all of July to really feel pretty good in the new place, but you guys will see it. So exciting things. And then the low is we found a cockroach in this new apartment, guys. And it's so weird because we're not even on the bottom floor. So I don't know how it came into our apartment, and it was like the size of my finger, I think, like maybe 2 inches, like a good 2 inches. It was like a meaty cockroach. It showed up in the shower while Tiff was showering, which is terrifying. And I wasn't home at the time. She texted me, and it was like one of the worst texts I could have gotten, where she was like, there's a cockroach in our apartment. And I was like, no freaking way, because I knew she wasn't going to kill it. So I was like, who else is going to kill it? It's just me and her. So I'm like running home from this like dinner party, and then I smashed that freaking cockroach. It took me like 30 minutes though. I was like screaming and jumping around, and it was such a smart cockroach. It like hid in the crevice of the shower like door. It like hid right at the edge of it, and so we couldn't even see it. And I was like, where did it go? Like I genuinely was like, it definitely left the room or something because we missed it. But then Tiff was like, it's too big, we cannot miss it. And so what we ended up doing was like splashing water on the cockroach, and it fell from the top, and it landed onto the floor. And then I like took a Swiffer and like smashed it, and it was disgusting. It was huge, and it just was a really bad experience because, you know, we just moved into this new place and we were super excited about it, and we still are. But like, to have a cockroach in it just like makes your safe space feel very violated, and it was not fun. It was not cute. Yeah, and so hopefully we don't see any more. Hopefully it was just like one that happened to show up. And then finally, for my buffalo, something weird that happened. I don't know what it is. I'm such a cynical person now, guys, because I've gotten older and like seen so many things. But for me, it's super weird when I see people do really nice things. I like start questioning it. I'm like, why? What's their motive? Why are they being so nice? Which is so sad. But there was this family that we bought the couch from, that we got for our living room. And they were just so nice about preparing the couch. So normally you would have to show up to the apartment, you would take it apart yourself, bring things down, and then, you know, drive it away. But this family was so sweet. They took it apart for us. They vacuumed the couch for us. They helped us bring it down the stairs, and they helped us bring it to the car. And they were like, if you need any help with setting it up, we've done it already. So send us your questions and we can help you, you know, get it set up. Which was so, so nice. They took so much care into preparing the couch to give it to us. And it was just like, you didn't have to do that because you're not going to take the couch. Like, it's not your problem anymore. And it's ours, and it's like for us to deal with. But they really, you know, cared about the way that they gave us a couch. And it was just like a Facebook marketplace transaction. So they really didn't have to go above and beyond, but they did anyways, which was so, so sweet of them. I don't know, I wouldn't do the same, sadly. And I just would give it away and just be like, well, you bought it from me, and that's what you're going to get, because that's what I sold it for and sold it as. After seeing that family do that, it just made me think, yes, it doesn't really matter at the end of the day for you. Like, it's not a benefit to yourself, but paying it forward, giving some care, tender love and care to the next person, it's just something about it. It's just so sweet. And it just like really inspired me to like do the same. And so when I was cleaning out the apartment this very last time, I was like, okay, if I were somebody coming in to the new apartment, how would I want to see it? And I like did a little bit extra to clean the apartment. Just because I was like, yeah, I know it's not to my benefit, but still. And that just shows like what happens when you do a nice thing for somebody. Sometimes that nice thing that you do for someone like inspires that person to do a nice thing for somebody else. And it just creates this ripple effect. And yeah, so anyways, let's just get into the topic of the episode. You know how I said that you wouldn't be spending that much money on some of these things? One of these things is a lie. I'm just going to get that one out of the way. But I genuinely think the amount of money that you would spend doing this thing is nothing compared to the benefits that you'll get from doing it. If that makes sense. Anyways, basically, I think you should invest in your bedding. Literally, make your bed a sanctuary. Do whatever you need to do to get the best mattress, the best, most comfortable pillows, depending on your preference. Like if you like firm, or if you like soft, you like a little bit of both. If you need 20 pillows, or if you need just one pillow, or if you need that like body pillow that you can wrap yourself around, or if you need like this type of frame, whatever you need for your bed, I think you shouldn't skimp out on your bedding or anything that has to do with your bed, because you spend pretty much like half or a third of your life in your bed. And when you're in your bed and you're sleeping, you are resting and you're recovering and whatnot, and if you are skimping out on the recovery slash rest process, you can't fully function and be at your optimal self when you are awake. And so because of that, I think you should definitely invest on those parts of your life. I feel like a lot of people wouldn't do that because they're thinking to themselves like, I'm not even awake for it, I don't even experience it. But I genuinely think it makes such a huge difference. Since I moved into the new apartment, I decided to invest in a mattress foam topper, and it's basically this 2-inch memory foam top that you put on top of your mattress, and it literally is a game changer. Like, I sleep so well, guys. I don't even wake up in the middle of the night, and I wake up in like really, really well rested. Like, I feel super different. It also helps that I'm no longer, you know, sleeping by a main street, so I don't hear like honking. I know that's a huge part of it, but also I know I'm like touching my bed right now because I'm like, this thing is like changed my life. It really, really helped me sleep way better and just feel so much better during my days. Even though I am sick, I think I would have gotten sick sooner if I didn't sleep as well as I did in those few hours of sleep I got. So I would highly recommend doing that. The next thing is to also move your bed to face the window. If you're trying to be an early bird, it's really easy to if you just put your bed near the window, because what happens is when the sun rises, you naturally will get light into your room and it will just naturally wake you up. So that's why I don't really sleep in anymore, and I wake up bright and early with the sun, like 8 a.m., 9 a.m., and it feels really good because it's a natural alarm clock for me instead of, you know, feeling really groggy. When I feel like a lot of people, what they tell me is when they sleep in a really dark room and they have to wake up, it's really hard for them to feel motivated to wake up because it feels like it's still nighttime and they should still be sleeping. But if you wake up with the sun, your body naturally thinks to wake up and knows to wake up. Another easy way to set up your life for success is to use a calendar. Whether it is a written calendar or a calendar app on your phone, I like to use a little bit of both of Notion calendar and Google Calendar, and I schedule everything on it. And I know there's some people that are like, oh, I'm not type A like that, but you don't need to be. It's really good for freeing up a lot of brain space where instead of remembering, oh, what am I doing next week? Or do I have something scheduled for next week? You can put that onto a calendar and then save that brain space for something else. And so it really takes off a lot of mental capacity and not like really clogging your brain with too many little things. And now you can just see it in one place and always refer to it. Honestly, that's how I keep up with what I need to do next week and weeks from now, instead of having to be like, okay, I need to remember to schedule this, I need to do this. No, I just put it in my calendar. I always put a reminder in my calendar to schedule a dentist appointment, for example, or a reminder to pay for my credit card bills so that I don't have to think to myself like, I need to do this on this day. Did I do it already or did I not? I set it into my calendar, I tick it off, and I know it's been done. Also, with the whole like dentist and doctor appointment thing, when you go see the doctor, you should just schedule it for the next year, set it in your calendar, and then just be like, okay, in July 2025, I'm going to have a doctor's appointment. Set it in your calendar, add a reminder for like a month before, so that you know that it's coming up a month before. And then if you look at your reminder a month before the event, you'll know that it's coming up. But if you know that, let's say you're going to plan a trip in that month and you're not actually going to be in the country for that appointment, then you can reschedule it and you have enough time because you reminded yourself that you rescheduled it a month beforehand. This is how I schedule myself, so that I really don't have to think about these things and I just know that it's happening because I took care of it beforehand and I looked out for my future self. Also, another thing that really helps is to optimize your most productive time of your day. So you know yourself really well. If you are a really productive person at night, then know that during that time, you should optimize that period of time to do the things that you really care about. And then the other times of the day, you should just do the things that you don't really care about. So for me, I know that my morning time is when I can get the most things done. So I like to do all the things I care about, like podcasting. That's why I film most of my podcasts in the morning, because I know that that's when I'm the most energized and that's when I can give my best self. But for things like my corporate job, which I don't really care about as much, I will do it during the afternoons when I feel really sluggish and I could really care less, and I can just do the bare minimum and get that work done. And so I'll optimize it in that way and really make sure that I'm showing up as the best version for the things that really matter to me. I also really recommend, and I've talked about this before, instead of completely quitting social media, which I feel like you can totally do if you really want to go that extreme. Like I've mentioned in the past, don't mind having social media, but I don't want to be addicted to it. And so I solve this by going on social media on my browser instead of having the app. And I've mentioned this again before, but the browser really is super annoying and I don't like the experience of it. And because of that, I don't go on social media as much, but I will still get the chance to. I just have to go on Safari or Google Chrome and then look up Instagram and then sign into my account and then scroll on the clunky browser version of the app. And it does the job. Like I can still scroll on social media, but I won't go on it as long. And so I won't spend as much time on the apps, on social media, and just consuming stuff that I won't remember, for one, and two, that I don't really care about. Another piece of advice is to make extra of your meals and then store them in your freezer. So a lot of people, what they'll do is they'll buy frozen foods, and these are like processed packaged foods, and then that's what they eat on days when they don't have enough time to make food or they're lazy, whatever. Instead, a healthier alternative is, let's say I make chicken noodle soup, I can make extra and then save it in a container and freeze it and then use it whenever I want. Just storing whole foods and whole meals on days when you did have time to make a really good healthy meal, just make extra of it, freeze it, and then when you need a quick meal, you can just grab it from your freezer, knowing that it's a healthy meal because you prepared it in the best way possible when you did have time. And so just kind of looking out for your future self, I feel like, is where this whole list is going. Another part of this is with the whole freeing up mental capacity is setting up alarms so that you know when to get ready and to leave the house and you don't have to think about it. So for me, I have to commute, a certain amount of time with the subway. I need to get ready before leaving to certain plans. And so what I'll do is I'll set an alarm for when I need to start getting ready and set an alarm for 5 minutes before I need to leave the apartment so that I can, when I hear that alarm, I know to get my bag and pack my bag and then head out. And it saves me a lot of mental capacity from checking the time and being like, oh, when do I need to get ready? Is it time to get ready yet? Is it going to be too late? Blah, blah, blah. No, I just schedule that in the morning. I'll get up and be like, okay, I need to go to get brunch with my friends at 12. So I'll set an alarm for 11:30 and then I'll set an alarm for 11. So 11's for when I need to get ready. 11:30's for when I need to get out, and I don't have to think about it. And when the alarm sets off, I'm like, okay, drop whatever I was doing and go get ready. That saves so much brain space, guys. It's made my life so much easier. I don't even have to think about doing things. I just kind of do it because the alarm just went off. Another way to set yourself up for success is to try to learn new things or learn from people that you normally wouldn't learn from or interact with. And so if you ever come across something you're curious about, follow it through. So let's say you have like a question in your head and you're like, I'm curious about this, like why is this the way it is? Don't just like let that thought die. Just do a quick search up and try to learn and answer that question that you had in your head. Or if you meet somebody and you're like, ooh, like I really wouldn't get along with this person, like still get to know them and like put a little bit more effort, like literally 10% more effort and maybe 10 more minutes of your time to just talk to that person and ask them some questions about their day and what their background's like. And I know this one sounds a little bit weird, but just hear me out. It actually, these little things will help you exercise a muscle to accept and be open to things you've never tried before and just new perspectives. But it also just exercises your learning muscles, like to just be uncomfortable and be okay with things being different and not really being ideal for you. As I've gotten older, you know, I'm not in school anymore, so I'm not learning as many new things. Especially in the corporate world, you actually don't really learn as much. You're becoming an expert and doing the same things over and over, so you kind of just start to become stagnant. And so by training yourself with these little things here and there, by looking up something new, learning something new, reading an article that has something that kind of sparks your curiosity, but also for me, sometimes I'm like, ooh, I really don't mesh well with that person. I would kind of just step away. Instead, staying there for a little longer, for 5-10 more minutes, and trying to see if you can learn a little bit more from that person. And just doing those little things, it really helps with exercising those muscles and being okay with being uncomfortable. And next is to try to keep to a consistent sleeping and waking up time. So even if you're going to sleep at like 3 a.m. and wake up at like 11 a.m., that's fine as long as you keep it consistent. The biggest thing is that people sleep at a really inconsistent schedule, and so they feel groggy or they can't fall asleep, and they just don't feel great in terms of waking up and falling asleep, and they have a lot of difficulty with it. But if you just at least keep yourself to a consistent schedule, even if it's like a ridiculous sleeping time or waking up time, as long as you keep it consistent, your body will adjust to it, and eventually it'll feel very natural to fall asleep at that time and to wake up at the time, even without an alarm. And I would highly, highly recommend doing this. It does take some practice. And if you don't even believe it, like just think about how people adjust to different time zones. Like technically somebody right now, if they're sleeping London time, they would be sleeping at a ridiculous time in New York Standard Time, right? In Eastern Standard Time. And so it's not because they have a weird schedule. They're just sleeping in a different time zone. Their body is waking up at a different time. And so it's the same exact concept. You just need to keep it consistent, and then you'll be able to sleep very well and wake up very easily. I always get a lot of questions about this, honestly, because I have a very different sleeping and waking up schedule than most people. I sleep at 10:30 consistently, and I wake up at like 5:30 consistently in the morning, and people are always like, how do you do that? How do you fall asleep? But genuinely, the moment my head hits the bed, I fall asleep within 5 minutes for sure, and I wake up very, very easily in the morning. And that's only because I've kept to a very consistent sleep schedule, and I allow myself to get at least 7 hours of sleep. So I feel good, you know? And finally, I'm going to recommend a book. I'm going to put it up here. It's called Nonviolent Communication. I think this one is one that might take a little bit more effort, but honestly, this one you can just read here and there. I read maybe like 1 or 2 pages a day of it, and it's like really not that much effort. But basically this book, and honestly, you don't even have to read the book. You can just read up on the topic about how important words and verbal communication is. I've been reading this book for a while now because I'm reading it so slow, but it has a lot of very practical information on how important the way you say certain things are, and how it can affect people, and how it can also impact yourself and the way you see the world and how you go about the world. It also tells you a lot about other people and how they see themselves and how they see other people and how they approach the world. I would highly recommend this. I don't think I realized how important, like, saying have to, like, I have to get up, I have to work today, versus saying I'm choosing to work today, I'm choosing to get up at this time. It really changes the way you see the world and where you put control and who you're giving control to. Things like that. That's just one very minor example, but this book has been huge. It sets us up for success or failure depending on what you say. You can really hurt somebody by saying certain things, and you could really help somebody by saying things certain ways. It really sets, a therapist apart from, like, your best friend. Literally the words that they use and the body language that they use. So yeah, I would highly recommend checking that book out, or just that topic out. Anyways, those are a million things that you could apply, and they're very, very simple. They're very little things. I would highly recommend choosing one or two things, not all of them because it can be a little bit overwhelming, but choosing one or two things that really resonated with you and then just applying it to your life, or just not trying any of them at all. It's fine. It's up to you, really. You can just ignore this whole video. But anyways, I hope you guys have the best day ever, and don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Rate the podcast, recommend the podcast, share the podcast, and let me know if you have any feedback or any suggestions for future episodes. And yeah, thanks for watching.